Hello and welcome back to Toxic, the pop culture podcast where we talk about viral topics in relation to morality and the way society is today. I am one of your hosts, Leah, joined by,
Talina.
and we are cultural critics and reluctant pop culture junkies. And today's topic, do you know what we're talking about today, Charlena?
Well, you said Felicity Huffman.
That's right. Felicity, is it Hoffman or Huffman? I thought it was Huffman. Felicity Huffman. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, she was on that ABC show Desperate Housewives, right?
Very
Isn't she
good.
an actress?
Yes. She is apparently an Oscar nominated actress. I kind of forgot about that. She's an
Yeah,
Oscar nominated actress. Yeah. And was on, like you said, Desperate Housewives on ABC.
and she's married to another actor. I forgot his name, but I can see
She
his
is,
face.
she's married to William H. Macy,
Thank you. And then
who people,
also she
mhm.
got in a little bit of trouble a couple years ago when all
She
those
did.
celebrities got rounded up in that college scandal when they were paying
Exactly.
money to get their kids into elite institutions. So I did, and did she do a little turn in the clink?
And you've got a good memory. That's exactly what's happened and who she is exactly. So, for those who didn't remember, this was a sting operation called Operation Varsity Blues, and it was known as the college admissions scandal, where wealthy parents paid a sort of like college coach type of person to legally arrange to have their children admitted to elite schools. And it could be either by bribing admissions testing officials, athletic staff, and coaches at universities. And in Felicity's case, and I believe if you remember back in the day, this I think all went down in 2019. This also involved good old uncle Aunt Becky from
Mm-hmm.
Full House, Lori Laughlin. She was embroiled in this too, and also did a little time in the clink for this. And yeah, there specifically was having oh gosh, it's so silly. Having the proctor giving their children the SATs, having that person basically make right answers for them. Right.
Mm.
So yeah, so terrible. And that's what's really interesting about that. The reason I want to mention that is because the kids really had no idea. And in fact, Felicity, and the reason we're talking about her is because she has broken her silence. So this happened in 2019. So the cheating happened in 2017. The scandal broke in 2019, and so now what is that? 4 years? 4 years later, she's broken her silence on this and started talking about it. So that is what we're talking about today. Is exactly what she said. Okay, and do you know anything about or her recent comments or remarks?
No, I have no idea.
Okay. So back in 2015, she pled guilty to one count of conspiracy to commit mail fraud and honest services mail fraud. Very technical stuff. She confessed to paying this man, William Rick Slinger. I'm always bad at saying numbers. 15,000. Yes, $15,000 to have a proctor correct her daughter's answers on the SAT. I guess she engaged him for his services and in being a consultant. And after a year, he started to say, and this is a quote from several articles, meaning this was a direct quote, and a lot of them cited it. Your daughter is not going to get into any of the colleges that she wants to. And then she said that she believed him. So when he slowly started to present the criminal scheme, this is a quote again from her. It seems like, and I know this seemed crazy at the time, but that was my only option to give my daughter a future. I know hindsight is 2020, but it felt like I would be a bad mother if I didn't do it. So I did it.
Ugh.
And and I guess to me, that's kind of where the of course it's toxic to cheat and toxic to use your wealth to give your kid advantages that no one else gets. Although, what's the point of wealth if not that? And so to me, I guess the only real tension is this super toxic, or is she right? Like, it was this just a mother's love. Just to add a little bit more context to it. Oh yeah, yeah. It's just it's not serious, but it's also kind of icky. It's just so icky. Kind of, I don't know. Doing the research for this made me feel really gross. She goes on to explain like how it all went down. Should we go into that now, or did you have anything you wanted to say?
I think she did not learn her lesson at all. And I don't know what kind of delusional world or delulu, as the kids say, um, that you think that if your kids can't get into, because what did he say? She's not going to get into any of these colleges that she wants. Not that
Yes,
she can't get into college. She can
right.
go to a college. She might not go to an elite institution that she
Hmm.
can brag to her friends about. Um, but
Right. But don't you also think it's interesting that if you that's where they spend the money? Like you didn't want to spend on getting this kid a tutor and getting her up to snuff on her own and believing in her and thinking she could do it. Like what was she going to do when she got into the school? You were going to just pay for her grades through the 4 years? And maybe they do. I guess I'm genuinely not expecting you to answer, but asking, how does that work? Like, okay, you pay for her to get into a school that she can't keep up. Like, she couldn't get in. How's she gonna keep up?
I don't think
How
they
is
worry
that gonna
about
work?
all that. And
I
actually,
guess it's
college is
not.
not as hard as, well, never
It's
mind.
not. Except a hard college can be hard, right? Like if you can't get in, how will you keep up? I think
Okay,
that there
that's
is
a good
something to be
point.
said for that. If you can't write an essay that convinces someone, I mean, like I said, for her and a couple others, it was more an SAT thing, but for the scandal kind of was a wide range of things that they were doing to get their kids in. So she talks about how it all went down, and she says they came into my home, they woke my daughters up at gunpoint. And then she says, again, nothing new to the Black and brown community. I guess she must have said something about Black and brown people before. But what I thought was funny is I saw on one of the Black publications, it might be Melanin Newsfeed. They were like, well, how did we catch a stray? And I just thought that was so true. Like, what do we have? Like, leave us out of it. But she says, so anyway, again, nothing new to the Black and brown community. But then they put my hands behind my back and handcuffed me and asked if I could get dressed. And I asked if I could get dressed. I thought it was a hoax. I literally turned to one of the FBI people in a flak jacket and a gun, and I went, "Is this a joke?" Like, can you imagine? You go into this very, very rich woman's house because, like you said, it's not just her that's an Oscar-winning actor. William H Macy maybe even won an Oscar. I'm not sure about that, but he is a very noted actor and has been around for a long time. They must have a very nice home, and you just come in. And I don't mean to laugh at anyone's pain, but I just can't. I just imagine her in
Yeah,
like
that's a little bit too much. Like the police in this country need to like slow their roll. They are really doing too much. I mean, for SAT scores and bribing a
I
proctor
know,
and
I
like
know.
having some college coach pretend that like, you know what I mean, that
Well,
they're
yeah.
they're helping the team because that was also part, like, give me a break, FBI. They're so
Well,
trigger happy. It's ridiculous.
maybe, but listen to what Slinger, the mastermind, this was his organization, his plan. Listen to what he was charged with. Uh, he was charged with a felony, right? So that the level is felony of the following: conspiracy to commit mail fraud, honest services mail fraud, money laundering, and actually earlier this year he was served a prison sentence of 42 months.
Okay, mail
So,
fraud.
sorry,
Mail fraud. Yes. I'm
what
just
you're
saying,
agreeing?
like, I just don't think the FBI needs to kick down doors and like,
Yeah, I don't know why they took it so seriously too. I don't know if they were just
yeah,
enjoying it. I remember wondering at the time, like, I mean, look,
yeah, they're
I like to see
enjoying
a
it,
person get their comeuppance, but damn, really? Like
and she's
guns?
absolutely right. I mean, it's this is just how it's standard operating procedure if you're black or brown, but
Mm,
they shouldn't be doing it to black and brown people, and they shouldn't be doing to rich white people who are
who
out
haven't
of touch
committed
and out to
violent
lunch.
crimes? Yeah, they
Yeah,
haven't.
for
Yeah,
mail fraud.
nothing. Right. I know. It does seem. That's something I would love to hear. It's like, why do they go so hard? But in any case, she herself, at the time, pled guilty to federal charges. In May 2019, and she served 11 out of 14 days in prison. But she also received a year of probation and was ordered to perform 250 hours of community service and pay a $30,000 fine. And the reason she's talking now is because she
So
says she
slap
wants
on
to
the
use her
wrist.
experience. Yes, a slap on the wrist. She wants to use her experience, but it's humiliating for her, right? Because she's a name, and yeah, pretty humiliating. She wants to use her experience and what she's gone through, and the pain to bring something good, which is to shine a light on Susan Burton's organization. This is the organization I believe that she spent a lot of her community service hours in, called A New Way of Life. So that is what happened there. And one happy, I guess, ending to this story is that daughter that was unknowingly embroiled in this scandal. She eventually got into Carnegie Mellon for drama on her own. So, well, on her own, who knows? But that's what it says, is that she got
Yes,
in
on
there.
her own. Her two, award nominated,
Right.
famous in the industry actor parents had nothing to do with it, I'm sure.
Well,
Well, and I'm sure they didn't. But like this is okay, so I guess people don't understand how all of this works. Remember how like Jodie Foster, I think, did she go to Yale or Harvard? And there, Natalie Portman went to Harvard. All
mhm.
these people went to Harvard, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're probably so bright. And you know what? Actually, I think Jodie Foster is probably very bright, and maybe Natalie Portman is. But there's many, many of these celebrities and children of celebrities that get into elite institutions, even without all the grifting, only because those elite institutions want these name brand people at their colleges. It's not
Sure.
like they're just so smart. It's just because they're getting in because of the
And
name. Period.
for the name, but also money, right? Like
Yes,
either they can squeeze them for money, or like you said, the name brings in more money. Like it
exactly.
really is a money thing at the end of the day. And so that's why it's like, well, yeah, what you did is toxic, but is it really? Because isn't that what you would do if you had money, is try to get your kids into stuff?
Okay, well, I don't know. I can't comment. This one backs up really right on the line with I have competing value systems where I have I just privilege compounds. It's so unfair, but also like,
What else would you
yeah.
do with it? Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like how I always knew. I had a feeling that eventually they would get rid of legacy admissions, and I'm like, of course. Now my kid's not going to benefit from, you know what I mean? Like, great.
Mm.
But really, legacy admissions are not, they're not right. It's not right. But did I want my kids and my imaginary children who I don't have to benefit from a legacy admission? Yes, yes, I did.
Well, I mean, points were made. I can see both sides of it. So I guess I don't know if I have a verdict. I mean, yes, it's toxic, but it's kind of like toxic light. Maybe I'll spell it with a Q, a French way,
No,
because you know,
toxic. And also not bright. Because to me,
not bright.
th why were they so far behind? Like if you want your kids to get into an elite institution,
Yeah,
you
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 start that
you
stuff from elementary. Yeah,
exactly. Like why would you have to commit crimes? Like
yeah,
privilege is supposed, I mean, it's not supposed to compound, but like why, like you said, why didn't you have tutors? Why didn't you have, like there's more than one way to skin. There's ways to do this stuff legally without
yeah,
getting yourself caught up and like needing to go to jail for 11 days.
yeah.
Like
It seems like
what?
a silly way to do things. Especially, I mean, your kids. You know if they're capable of. Are they going to rise to the challenge or not? Right? And I don't even know what that means. High school can be hard, right? Like sometimes you take a class that it's worth more, but it hurts your GPA because you get a lesser grade. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like you got to figure this kind of stuff out. And so yeah, you should be working with your kids to figure out the best route for them, and not relying on paying some bobo to help you cheat.
Right.
Like just wild.
Also,
Anyway,
pick
if
your lane. Like, yeah, I don't know. I might be a
well,
snob
if
though. I'm just like, like you said, did your kid have the chops to be at USC or an Ivy League school? Like,
yeah, and just it's so sad, right? Because okay, you do your thing, you get your way, and then it's a spot that someone who actually worked really hard and didn't need to cheat to get it is missing. So that's it's a little sad to think about as well.
and college is kind of a scam. Like, you really think your kid needs college when she's got two Oscar nominated parents? Like, why does your child need college?
Because we're taught that
Seriously.
everybody needs college. That's
But
not
that's a
fair.
lie. It's not
Yeah, but
true.
that is what society runs. And guess what? When they I'm not wishing this on anyone, but the ones who really don't become anything, just kind of sponging off their parents, it's the one thing that they can say they did. You know what I mean? Like for a lot of them, that's really it. They're not going to achieve much in life because nothing was expected of them.
Oh, you're right.
The
It
very
is.
least they could do is go to college. It is what.
Okay. Her last name is Huffman, and I was trying to see if she went to.
That's a good call. I wouldn't be surprised if they went to like an Ivy League drama school, both of them,
Yeah, she
or
looks
not.
like she
Like
went
I
to
could.
NYU. I don't know if she graduated though.
Mm, okay, but guess what? She didn't get in because of her name or a cheating scandal. So
Mm.
it's just a
Yeah.
shame, you know, that you A wouldn't pass on whatever you have to your kids, and then B wouldn't enforce that thing, right? Like, boo. Boo. Anyway, that's what I had to say about it. If you have thoughts, we would love to hear them. Please tell us in the comments. Is this toxic at all? Is this what you do for your kid? Like, is this just par for the course? Um, yeah, let us know.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.